presentation of Fox Sports.
We are sports. We are Southeast.
Opening day, it's finally here. The beginning of a marathon that is a baseball season. Every spring, it arrives with anticipation and excitement. But this year, something feels a little bit different. A renewed sense of confidence, a belief that this franchise has returned to the Braves' way. We are on the right track and headed in the right direction. And yes, now does matter to you, to me, to all of Braves country. Because what we do now is the foundation for the future. So let's enjoy the journey together. Yours truly, Freddie Freeman.
High fly ball to right. At the wall, the Braves have won. Well, after 6 long winter months, at long last, opening day has finally arrived. It's a gorgeous afternoon in Atlanta as the Braves kick off the 2016 season here at home against their division rivals, the Washington Nationals. Great news for Atlanta. Freddie Freeman is healthy and is back. Nick Markakis is healthy. He's back in right as the Washington Nationals have reloaded. And of course, Bryce Harper, the reigning MVP, is in town to start the season as well. Hi again, friends. Great to be back with you with my partner, Joe Simpson, who's celebrating his 25th year with the Braves. I'm Chip Carey. Partner, should be a lot of fun in 2016, a season of anticipation and expectation, too.
Hey, if you're going to start the season off, why not start it off against the odds-on favorites, the Washington Nationals, for the National League East title? And they're throwing a guy who threw 2 no-hitters last year, including the last day of the season in Max Scherzer. For the Atlanta Braves, the eyes are on the horizon for what's to come in the next couple of years. But for a lot of veterans on this ball club, they're only worried about 162 games that start today.
This is the final home opener in the history of Turner Field. It's already a very special day. Bobby Cox threw out the first pitch. We'll talk about that and tease our home opener against the Nats next.
Atlanta Braves baseball is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day.
Hawks, it is an absolutely gorgeous afternoon here at Turner Field. Not a cloud in the sky, gentle breeze blowing straight out as we welcome the Washington Nationals to town for the first time. They've got a new skipper, Dusty Baker. They have a few new faces as well, most notably Ben Revere leading off for them in the outfield. Rendon, reigning MVP, Bryce Harper third. Zimmerman, Murphy, Worth, Ramos, Espinoza, and as Joe said, Max Scherzer coming off 2 no-hitters last year. But clearly, Joe, the straw that stirs the drink for the Nationals is 22-year-old Bryce Harper. Had one of the most remarkable seasons in MLB history last year.
Chip, when you look at the Washington Nationals year last year, he's the only guy that really stood out. Everybody else was somewhat average, but this was extraordinary. At the age of 22, a 33-30 average, 42 homers, 99 RBIs, second most home runs by a left-handed hitter at that age, second only to the Braves' Eddie Matthews. Third highest wins against replacement at age 22, and the third youngest MVP in history to 2 guys who are in the Hall of Fame. It was an amazing year for Bryce Harper.
But for the Nationals, a disappointing year. They won 83 times and had their
ravaged by injuries, but everybody that they expected such huge numbers from, they had anywhere from 12 to 16 homers in the 60 to 70 RBI type years. They need more than that this year if they're going to compete with the Mets and that strong pitching staff.
So that's the lineup that Braves starter Julio Teheran will face as he takes the mound for the very first time. Julio's making his third consecutive opening day start. And Joe, the last weeks of last season and all of spring training, Julio Teheran pitched like a staff ace.
He was outstanding near the end of spring training. He was pitching with a lot of confidence, and he's been good on opening day. Remember the start last year down in Miami where he pitched so brilliantly. But when you look at his season last year, there's some numbers that were really kind of hard to figure. One, he was outstanding here at Turner Field, 8-2 with a sub-3 ERA. But the road games, those series of games were not so good, and especially interleague play. He had an ERA over 9. So those are some things that he'll try to iron out this year. Time for first four keys.
Make them good ones.
Of the 2016 season. And this really kind of applies to his whole year. Walks. He had 22 more walks last year in 20 fewer innings. He had given up 5 more home runs in 20 fewer innings pitched last year. So those are two areas he's got to try to keep the ball in the ballpark, but especially the bases on balls were really a problem for him last year, especially early in the season.
So some new faces for the Braves defensively this year. First of all, let's start in the outfield. Hector Olivera has moved from third base to left field. He did not see a single plate appearance at third base this spring because Adonis Garcia is the opening day third baseman for Atlanta. You get your first look at Eric Ibar and Ender Inciarte at short and center. Jace Peterson, Freddie Freeman, Nick Markakis, and A.J. Brzezinski also in Freddie Gonzalez's opening day lineup today.
And you know, if the Braves win today, they're going to be in first place. Right?
That's right.
Okay.
Exactly right.
So all the naysayers who don't have a whole lot of confidence in the Atlanta Braves, well, get ready.
And it's always exciting when you start play. Before you've thrown a single pitch, you're already a half game ahead of the Mets.
See?
Liking it.
Yeah. This is going to be fun. I mean, I was talking about keeping your eyes on the horizon for what's coming with the Atlanta Braves. I think anybody that's a Braves fan already knows about the talent that is percolating to the top. Well, as Freddie Freeman keeps saying, we got a lot of veterans here only worried about today and the next 161 games, and I think you'll see the way these guys play win you over.
That's a great point for a team that's perceived by many to be so young. The Braves have 14 of their 25 players aged 30 or older.
There you go.
On their ball club, so they know how to play, as does Ben Revere, who's the new national leadoff man. Remember, he started with the Phillies, went to Toronto and played great. Big crowd at Turner Field. We're playing for real. And a strike, and we're underway. Ben Revere takes over for Denard Span as the Nationals center fielder. They got him from the Jays for Drew Storen. And that's ripped down the right field line and pulled foul. Quickly 0-2 for Ben Revere.
One of the things we're going to keep an eye on today with Julio Teheran, and he threw a first pitch strike, is that he was near the bottom of the league in terms of starters in first pitch strikes. Paul Bird's going to keep an eye on that for us and talk about it as we go along today. But that's another part that could have been a Ford key for him today.
Revere, ordinarily a tough guy to strike out. Struck out 64 times last year and almost 600 at bats. But Teheran got him on 3 pitches. Excellent start for Julio. Revere strikes out.
Backdoor breaking ball, couldn't reach it, tried to guard the plate. Good start.
1 up, 1 down for Anthony Rendon, the Nationals third baseman. As we start the year with Washington, we're going to talk about how many games they played, how many games they missed, because that was such a big story for the year. Joe, I know you've always liked Rendon. This man managed to play just 80 games last year because of injury.
80 games and still hit 15 homers and drove in 68. I think he's only scratched the surface of what he can do batting average wise too. I think he's going to be somewhere in the 300 range or better if he's healthy.
And what a place to hit in this Washington lineup, right in front of the reigning MVP. 1 ball, 1 strike to the product of Rice University, Anthony Rendon. Taking a little low, said Jerry Meals, the home plate umpire today. Left knee medial collateral ligament and a left quad sidelined Rendon last year. That knee injury took place in spring training. Washington came out of camp this year with exceptionally good health, and Rendon singles for the first Washington hit.
Braves had a little mini shift on for Rendon, but he found a hole. Now listen to the reception for Bryce Harper. Pitch left up in the zone, and Rendon took care of it.
Remarkable numbers for Bryce Harper. We showed you those a moment ago. 42 homers, 99 RBIs. The youngest player in the history of the National League to lead the league in homers, runs, on base, and slugging percentage in a single year. And a big hole right side for Harper to work with. And up and in, missed for Tehran. 1 ball, no strikes.
124 walks, 131 strikeouts.
Short lead at first by Rendon. And that missed across the chute tops. 2 balls, no strikes.
Harper last year against the Braves in 18 games had a .481 on base percentage. That's because he drew 14 walks in 18 games against Atlanta.
As banged up as they were, why pitch to him? A lot of times Atlanta did. Have to here in the first. 2 balls, no strikes. And took it. 2-1 your count.
Good changeup. Left-handers wore Tehran out last year. They hit 300 against him. Right-handers only 207. He worked hard, especially in spring training, on that changeup to try to neutralize lefties a little bit, and that was a good pitch behind in the count.
Harper didn't get that. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Here are those splits last year. 27 home runs, 18 by left-handed hitters. Again, that was the most home runs he's ever allowed in a season. Most walks he's given up in a season. 2 areas he'll try to improve on.
Harper hitting to 15 double plays last year. 1 here would be nice. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Runner goes, and skied out of play, foul. These 2 young players have had some big time confrontations. You see Harper's offensive numbers. You might recall a couple of years ago, Julio Tehran hit Bryce Harper with a pitch and was mouthing the words, "What are you going to do?" And Bryce took exception to that. And they're back at it today. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Harper was fooled but fought it off.
Julio got away with a high breaking ball there. A hanger. Yikes. Right off the heel of AJ's glove. It was just bad enough a pitch that he couldn't connect. Remember, good move by Tehran. He had 5 pickoffs last year. This team did not run much last year, the Nationals. Hardly at all. So the addition of Revere at the top of the order and a guy in Dusty Baker who's willing to run, you may see some improvement in that area for the Nats.
Rendon holds, and Harper pulls it down the right field line, foul. And with all the player changes the Nationals made, and there were plenty of those, we hardly touched on the fact that Dusty Baker has a new coaching staff. You know all about Davey Lopes, the former Dodger great.
And what he can do for a team and their ability to run, steal bases, take the extra base. He's perhaps the best base running coach that's still in the business.
And Dusty Baker, plan B for the Nationals ownership. Remember, Bud Black was their first choice to manage the club. Dusty in his first year in Washington now. And Rendon's going to be picked off. There's that good move. Let's see if Ibar can run him down. It'll be Teheran applying the tag. Rendon picked off.
And Davey Lopes really having it out over there with Ron Kulpa. He saw something from Teheran on the move that he thought might have been a balk. No chance for Rendon to get out of there, and there goes Lopes over to talk to Ron Kulpa.
So now Julio can go back to the windup and perhaps take care of Bryce Harper in the first. Bases empty, 2 outs. And a high towering fly ball deep right. Markakis will watch that one sail out of the ballpark. Bryce Harper hits a solo homer with 2 outs.
He got away with one. He didn't get away with the second mistake. That was a slider that was flat and came right into the barrel of his bat. No doubter. At least the pickoff made it a solo shot.
So Julio, who allowed 27 home runs last year, 18 of them to left-handed batters, surrenders 1 to Bryce Harper to start the game, and it's 1-0 Washington for Ryan Zimmerman. Zimmerman, another oft-injured National last year. Plantar fasciitis and a left oblique cost him a lot of time. But he hit 16 homers last year. And made the transition from third to first, it seems, Joe, like it's a natural position for him.
Yeah, and they so need him to bat behind Bryce Harper and give him some protection. That means they need him in the lineup. They can't afford any more injuries from him. Good breaking ball. As a result, he went to camp, and Dusty Baker basically said to him, what do you want to do in camp? And trying to nurse that plantar fasciitis, he said, I only need 40 at bats. I need 40 and that's it. He got 42. He's healthy, his foot's okay and ready to go.
That was tipped and dropped at the plate. Zimmerman still alive. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Zimmerman now the graybeard on the National Ball Club. 4th overall pick in 2005. Got to the big leagues that season for the Nationals. 200 career homers and a lifetime .283 average. Now 31 years old. Just missed.
Pretty good pitch. Box track shows you just a little off the plate. They had skinned the outside corner.
High hopper toward Ibar at short, and that will not retire the side. The throw pulled Freddie Freeman off the bag. So the inning continues for Julio Teheran. Zimmerman aboard after a throwing error.
Freddie's toe apparently came off the bag just a little bit at the point he caught the ball. And the throw by Ibar definitely pulled him off. I'll give Zimmerman credit. That's not a play that he would have legged out last year. And not a good start for Eric Ibar in his first game.
Here's Daniel Murphy, hero in the playoffs for the Mets last year. With Yunel Escobar gone, with Ian Desmond gone, Rendon moves from second to third. They signed Murphy to a 3-year deal after his terrific year with the Mets. And another thing that makes Murphy such a neat part of the lineup from Washington's perspective, he puts the ball in play. Another tough guy to strike out. Ball one.
That was an amazing stretch Murphy went on in the postseason.
7 homers and 58 at bats. That's foul at first. And Murphy another chance. 2 balls and a strike. Julio's had to work overtime here in the first inning. Revere struck out to start the frame. Rendon singled up the middle, then was picked off. Bryce Harper hit a 2-2 pitch out to right. Zimmerman on a throwing error stands at first. And Julio ready for his 25th pitch. And it missed.
Well, the error extended the inning, which means more pitches for Julio, but he's got to try to make Murphy put the ball in play and not extend it himself with a free pass.
Two on, 2 out. And that'll bring up Jason Worth.
Because of all those injuries last year, the Nationals didn't rank too high in any National League statistical category except for runs and homers. They were 3rd in runs scored and tied for 3rd in home runs. Just 88 games for this guy.
Sprained AC joint in his shoulder and a left wrist sent Worth to the disabled list twice last year. And did not have the greatest of springs either for the Washingtons. And down a strike. Worth now 36. Hit 20 home runs in his first season in Washington in 2011. 25 homers in 2013, 16 in 14, 12 last year.
Well, you'll hear us say this a lot. Health factors in a lot with some of these guys. They're getting a little long in the tooth also, but I think without a doubt they have the best lineup in the National League East, up and down.
1 ball, 2 strikes. And Worth didn't get it, and Terran is out of the top of the first inning. The reigning MVP Bryce Harper has homered. The Braves will try to even it up against Max Scherzer next. On in the first, here's how Freddie Gonzalez lines him up. Good-looking top of the order with Inciarte, Ibar, and Freddie Freeman. Nick Markakis back to health. And hopefully the Braves bats will be healthy today if they're facing Joe, one of the game's best right-handers.
No doubt about that. Big guy, Max Scherzer, 31 years old, 6'3", 215 out of the University of Missouri. Last year, his National League ranks all top 10 there, including strike to walk ratio. 8 strikeouts to every walk he issued. And a 276 average against him, or 276 strikeouts rather, second in the league. And oh, by the way, a couple of no-hitters last year too,
including in his final start against the Mets last year. Struck out 17 on October 3rd that day. And his first pitch of the campaign is off the plate to Ender Inciarte, man that the Braves got from the Diamondbacks in the Shelby Miller trade. Those are his numbers with the Diamondbacks. So, Joe, what did you see of Inciarte that Braves fans can look forward to at the top of the order?
Worked the count, was patient at the plate, line drives all over the ballpark, not afraid to draw a walk. .338 on base percentage last year with the D-backs.
And had that fastball time from the former Diamondback Max Scherzer, but fouled it back. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
When he was used in the leadoff spot last year for Arizona, he had .304 with a .340 on base percentage. Scherzer throws hard. He's in the low to mid 90s. He's got a good slider that he just bounced up there. An occasional curveball and a changeup. He will throw a cutter, but sometimes his cutter goes into the category of slider, according to Kevin Seitzer.
A little pop towards center. And Revere will make the play with his glasses gleaming, and there's your first out in the bottom of the first.
Kevin Seitzer said they wanted to be aggressive today early in the count because Scherzer led all of baseball last year in first pitch strike percentage. He likes to get ahead, and when he gets ahead, he's got a lot of weapons to get you to chase other pitches. And he gets you 0-2. It's not a pretty scene.
Yeah, 276 strikeouts for Scherzer last year, second to Clayton Kershaw in the National League. And here's our first look at Eric Ibar at the plate. Ibar, a switch hitter, skied that one fouled out of play, a strike. Ibar, terrific player with the Angels. All-star in 2014, 5 straight years with 30 or more doubles. And a nice compliment with Inciarte hitting second ahead of Freddie Freeman.
And a switch hitter, so he can fill that spot no matter who's pitching. Good slider. You'll change speeds on that pitch too.
Look out. That one into the Braves dugout foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Now the 2-2. And Ibar swung at ball 3 and rolls it out to Murphy at second. There's the second out. It looked like it was in the middle of the right-hand batter's box.
That was way out.
So 2 outs for Freddie Freeman. Look at this pitch and swing.
See where Ramos sets up too. Oh my goodness, that that was still in the right-handed batter's box. You're right.
Great to see Freddie Freeman back and healthy. Wrist feels good. And always good to see Freddie Freeman in the lineup against the Washington Nationals.
Yeah, he wears them out. They've got a big shift on for him. 3 guys on the right side. Rendon, the third baseman, at the shortstop spot.
Back-to-back 96-mile-an-hour pitches from Scherzer.
Yeah, that's what can really make him effective on any given day. He can get ahead with 91 or 92, and then all of a sudden the next fastball is 5 miles an hour harder.
Freddie hits it a mile towards center. Revere going back, still going back, leaps at the fence. He can't get it. Freddie Freeman has tied it with a 2-out homer of his own. That's how you take care of Johnny Vandermeer history.
A third straight fastball, couldn't sneak it by him. All over it. I was afraid Freddie had hit it too high, but he didn't. I tell you, in batting practice today, the ball was jumping.
So the first time Freddie Freeman has ever seen Max Scherzer, he hits a home run to tie it here in the first. As Adonis Garcia, the cleanup man, hits and chops towards short. Espinosa gloves, grabs guns, and gets his man, and that retires the side. Harper and Freeman, 2 of the game's young stars, have hit opening day homers in Atlanta, and after one, we're tied at 1.
The Atlanta Braves 2016 opening day is brought to you by Delta Airlines, your local Ford dealer, and Xfinity. X1 from Xfinity will change the way you experience sports.
Beautiful day in Atlanta. And partner, how's that for a start?
Little fireworks action. 2 stars on each team, each respective team doing their part. We'll start over.
And hopefully Julio can have a nice, efficient, and easy second inning with the bottom part of the order up for the Nationals. 30 pitches for Tehran, 9 extra pitches after the Ibar throwing error to first. And it'll be Wilson Ramos leading off, then Espinosa, then Max Scherzer. Ramos had a good year last year. And historically, injuries have been a big problem for Wilson Ramos. Last year, though, he played 128 games, hit 15 homers.
He looks in great shape too. Looks real trim.
One ball, one strike for 28-year-old Wilson Ramos. And it was a little tight. 2-1 your count. To third, Adonis to his left, takes a peek at the baseball and makes a perfect throw. 1 out. I think it's safe to say, Joe, that's going to be a very important factor for the Braves this year. Whatever success they have, it's a very different looking left side of the infield for Atlanta, but Garcia and Ibar have to make the routine plays consistently.
Agreed. The whole left side, those two guys plus Oliveira in left, there's going to be a microscope on those guys to make plays, just the routine plays. I don't think a whole lot's expected for superstardom from Oliveira in his first year in left field, but just make the routine plays and all will be just fine.
Here's Danny Espinosa. Espinosa, the starting shortstop for the Nationals. Seems strange to see them without Ian Desmond at short. He's now an outfielder with the Texas Rangers. So Espinosa, a natural shortstop, slots in perfectly. Hit a laser to short for the second out.
You know, as you said, in his normal position at short, they are going to be better with Espinosa at short. And he's a solid hitter too. He had a bad spring, but hit that one on a line.
So quickly 2 outs for Max Scherzer in the batter's box.
He can hit a little bit. 15 hits last year.
Julio's working quickly. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And that's going to stay foul. We'll do it again.
You mentioned that Freddie Freeman was facing Scherzer for the first time. That's because Scherzer only made 1 start against the Braves last year. In all the games that these teams hooked up, he only made 1 start and got a no decision. Actually took a loss. He got beat 2-1. I beg your pardon. That was on July 2nd. And he pitched into the 9th inning. But with Freddie hurt a lot, they didn't match up.
That's out of play. A ball and 2 strikes again for Scherzer. And a swing and a miss. Teheran has his 3rd strikeout. Nick Markakis will lead off the 2nd. That's about as clean shaven as you're going to see Nick Markakis right there.
I agree. Although hitters are funny. If they're going good, they're going to shave every day if that's what it takes. I was talking to Kevin Seitzer before the game on some of Nick's struggles in spring training. He had a rough spring. 8 for 44. He did have a homer, but he was swinging a 34-inch, 34-ounce bat, a heavy bat, and he was trying to make his hands work. He was trying to make sure that he stayed back to get those hands working. So Kevin Seitzer said the music to his ears yesterday was that Nick told him he was going to start the season with go back to a 32-ounce bat. He thought it would make a big difference.
I don't think you worry about Nick Markakis' spring numbers at all, do you?
No, and he doesn't like spring. He'll be the first to tell you he hates spring training. You know, if we're up to Nick, he'd go down there for a week and start the season.
Yeah.
That's not the way it works.
Well, and the year he had last year is all the more remarkable because of the previous offseason's neck surgery. He could not work out. He couldn't do his normal routine. And yet Joe Markakis still played 156 games, played right field almost flawlessly, and hit .296 for Atlanta. This one's popped up left side. Rondon's got room in the shadows, makes the play, 1 down.
Yeah, I said near the end of the season we hadn't seen his best, and I still feel that about Nick. He's stronger, he's more fit, and he's more prepared more than anything else for the start of this season.
One away for Hector Oliveira, who was a very nice story for Atlanta this spring. Those were his numbers in a very brief cameo with the Braves last year.
All the efforts that he and Kevin Seitzer put into shortening his swing were for these types of games.
That's driven toward right. Harper battling the side, couldn't get there in time. And Oliveira will get a swing on the house.
And when I say these types of games, I'm talking about these guys in the National League East that can throw 95, 96. Harper's lucky he didn't get hurt. Kind of slid funny. What you think about all those hard throwers with the Mets? Marlins have a couple of guys that can air it out. So do the Nationals. The Braves will see Strasburg here on Wednesday. It's hard to catch up to those guys if you've got a long swing.
Two quick strikes for Oliveira. And that missed down low. And to your point, the Braves had a specialized pitching machine brought into the hitting cages in Orlando, and they really cranked up the velocity and moved the batter's box closer than normal to try to help Oliveira adjust to that extra velocity. I mean, nothing's going to force you to be quick like that, right?
No, and it's all about timing. I mean, he could certainly start early and catch up, but then all of a sudden, what do you do on the breaking ball when you're all the way out on your front foot?
Didn't get it. Oliveira swings and misses. That's Scherzer's first strikeout. And quickly, 2 out for AJ Pierzynski. Great to have AJ back here in 2016. Hit .300 for the Braves last year. .22 big league games away from 2,000 games played for the Braves catcher. And Washington shifts for him.
If AJ has the same type of year he had last year, he's going to climb over a lot of Hall of Fame type major league catchers in terms of all-time career hits. And Nick Markakis was talking to me about that around the batting cage in Orlando, about couldn't you make a case for the Hall of Fame for AJ Pierzynski, and you absolutely can when you look at his cumulative numbers.
Well, in the history of the game, AJ Pierzynski's 186 lifetime homers, 5th in Major League history for left-hand hitting catchers. Fielding percentage, first all time among catchers with at least 1,000 games behind the plate. He's 11 hits away from 2,000 in his major league career. But he couldn't catch up to that pitch from Scherzer, who works a perfect bottom of the second.
Here in Atlanta, Julio Teheran getting out there and battling. We're talking about first pitch strikes. He's 5 out of 9 today on his first pitch strikes. I happened to open this place in '97 with that team, and they honored us today, and I was able to drive back. Leo Mazzoni, part of that crowd, and I will never forget, before he would go over any scouting report, Leo Mazzoni would say, to make these things work, go strike one. And Chip and Joe, I got to tell you, it was like Jiminy Cricket going off in my head. Wherever else I played, I remembered the importance of Leo talking about that first pitch strike and getting ahead in the count and what a difference it would make.
I can understand that because Leo and Jiminy Cricket looked a lot alike, so I can see how that stuck with you, Paul.
That's good stuff. And on another note, Max Scherzer last year was the best in all of baseball at first pitch strikes. Julio 4th worst, so we'll see if we can change some of that today.
Bertie, great to have you back for 2016.
Well, I appreciate that, Chip. Great to be back, and what a great day, and I'm excited about this team.
Julio Teheran facing Ben Revere, who struck out to start the game. We're in the 3rd inning, game tied at 1. Bryce Harper's homered for the Nets. Freddie Freeman has homered for the Braves. That's slashed out of play, foul. 2 balls and a strike.
Hey, Paul, I have a question. I mean, with the difficulties that Julio had last year with lefties, is it even more important that he get that first pitch strike in against left-handers as opposed to right-handers?
Absolutely. I was a right-handed pitcher that struggled with lefties too and had pretty big splits. So yes, you know that taking the mound. And what the 0-0 pitch does if you throw it for a strike is it enables you to have a better chance to get to 1-2. And the difference between, you know, Joe, as a hitter, the difference between walking in the box with a count that's 2-1 and 1-2 is ridiculous. Hitters 1-2 in the big leagues last year hit, you know, in the mid 100s, below 170, and then when it is 2-1, they hit 330.
3-1 pitch, dribble to third. Bad throw, but a long hop handled by Freddie Freeman. Yikes, a lawn dart from Garcia, but fortunately Freeman corralled it, and there's the first out.
Well, you're right, Paul, in terms of how a hitter feels when he's standing up. That was a great pitch, 3-1. Hit it at Rivera, hit right off the end of the bat on an off-speed pitch. But to right-handed hitters, if he gets ahead 0-1, he's got other weapons. He can go to the slider, running away from a right-handed hitter. For a lefty, if he's behind in the count, he's going to have to make a better pitch, and that's where he's been getting hurt.
Well, he got a break as Revere rolled out weakly. And he was way ahead in the count. 3 balls and a strike. Now Rendon bats. He singled up the middle in the first before being picked off ahead of Harper's homer. Line to third, 2 out.
I know Rendon's going to be constantly overshadowed by Bryce Harper. Everybody pays attention to Harper, and rightly so with his MVP numbers. But man, oh man, you're looking at a solid hitter right there in Anthony Rendon. What a good player.
Dusty Baker was raving about him before the game today. I recall 2 years ago, Rendon hit 21 homers. Knocked in 83.
And he was healthy. He played like 158 games or 155 games, something like that.
Rendon was a guy, by the way, that the Braves drafted out of high school, but he decided to go to college. And here's Bryce Harper. What a way to try to defend his MVP award. He homered in his first at bat of the season.
At this pace, he and Freddie Freeman are going to have a real battle for that home run title.
They're at their pace is 162.
Oh, low, I guess. Late afternoon shadow moving across home plate too.
Three balls at a strike.
That will be more problematic for the hitters as we move along.
Tehran doesn't give anything good to Harper, way behind in the count. He'll walk ahead of Zimmerman. Second walk for Julio to go along with 3 strikeouts, and now the Nationals' first baseman bats for the second time. Zimmerman, Worth, and Rendon combined to miss 223 games for Washington last year. I don't care how good your team is. 3 great hitters like that are out, you're going to have some problems, yet they still won 83 games last year.
Yeah, it really caught up to them late when the Mets blew by them, and Nats eventually finished 7 games back, and they were nowhere near a wild card spot. But it's a new year. And again, if they stay healthy, they're going to be tough.
No balls, 1 strike. And Harper chased back.
And again, Lopes has a word with Ron Culpa. Maybe just trying to plant a seed to get him to look for something that may not even be there.
Harper stole 18 bags his rookie year. He's stolen 19 since. And off the plate, even count.
Great move. Saw him with a pickoff in spring training at second base.
And his pickoff today saved him a run. Rendon picked off before Harper homered. Now Zimmerman checked to swing. Well, no, he didn't. That's in there. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Bar at short. He'll throw to Jace Peterson at second. That retires the side, and Jace will lead off Atlanta's third. We're still tied 1 apiece on opening day. For opening day in Atlanta, we're tied 1 apiece here in the home third. Hope you'll join us for opening weekend this Friday through Sunday when the Cardinals come to town. All fans in attendance this weekend get a 2016 magnetic schedule on Friday and Saturday. Compliments of Georgia Power. Get your tickets at Braves.com or call 800-745-3000. New season for Jace Peterson.
And one of the things for Jace this year, the thumb we didn't know about at the end of the year that was causing him so many problems, but to work on his defense, play better afield offensively. He'll be okay. Hit that on the button. He'll get his share of hits, but in the absence of Andrelton Simmons, his work around the bag with Ibar is going to be vitally important. You mentioned the Cardinals. I have to figure that former Brave farmhand and St. Simons Island resident Adam Wainwright will pitch in one of those games for the Cardinals over the weekend. He worked in yesterday's really baseball opener in Pittsburgh, first game of the year.
He ran into Francisco Liriano, who appeared to be dazzling.
I like the Pirates.
Do you?
I like the Pirates a lot.
1 ball, no strikes for Julio Teheran. This one's popped up. Bright sunshine. Zimmerman and Murphy. It'll be Murphy at second. And there's the second out. Pittsburgh, a different looking team without Aramis Ramirez and without Pedro Alvarez.
You know, they've lost some pop in their lineup, but if they get good pitching from Liriano and Cole and Jonathan Neese that they got from the Mets, they've got a good bullpen, and they have arguably the best defensive outfield in baseball, with Marte, McCutchen, and Polanco, who I think just got a big contract extension today for 5 more years. I think they're a good defensive ball club, and I think the Pirates, everybody talks about the Cubs and Cardinals, better include the Pirates in that.
They won 98 games last year and barely made the playoffs. That tells you how tough the Central was last year. And I'll bet you they're playing with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder for that point you just made. Everybody's pretty much handing the National League Championship to the Cubs this year. Ender Inciarte bats for a second time, takes low, 1 ball, 1 strike. Inciarte popped out to center in his Braves debut.
See, there was classic Scherzer. Strike 1, then a slow curveball to left-handed hitter. Back to 95. 3 different pitches, first 3 pitches to Inciarte.
And right now you can't eliminate anything from his repertoire, can you?
No. Throw strikes. Some people might call that a cutter, but it's Kevin Seitzer was talking about how he pulls that pitch into lefties. It's more of a slider that he pulls, trying to make it cut. Almost hit Ender with that one.
Bounced to the plate, foul.
But talk about some consistency with Scherzer. He won the Cy Young Award in 2013 with the Tigers, was 21-3, and he's been 5th in the Cy Young voting in 14 and 15 in the American League and then the National League.
There are a lot of folks who were wondering if Seitzer had lost his faculties. Didn't the Tigers offer him a gigantic deal and he turned it down, wanted to test free agency? Scherzer?
They did. Everybody thought he had lost his mind.
How much money can you walk away from? He bet on himself and turned into a huge deal for Max Scherzer with Washington.
Well, and the Tigers at that point turned around and gave all the money to Miguel Cabrera, almost like they're saying, okay, somebody else wants it.
3-2 pitch. And Inciarte takes that walk that Joe said he'll take from time to time.
That was a good at bat. Fell behind, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Braves leadoff men last year in 162 games hit .252. He hit .304 when he was leading off. And in 101 games in the leadoff spot, he scored 64 runs. All year long, leadoff men for the Braves scored 80.
And they had about that many leadoff men.
Yeah, that's true. What was that?
He's even willing to throw his changeup on a pickoff at first. That's what that was. But I think that's what's going to be fun about this Braves lineup, which used 5 different leadoff men last year. You've got Inciarte against the righties, Drew Stubbs against the lefties, conceivably, and then Ibar, who can switch hit. Those 2 guys, or 3 guys, I should say, should be penciled first and second most of the time in front of Freddie Freeman.
Well, that's ultimately what caused the Braves to designate for assignment Michael Bourne, because he's left-handed hitter too, and not a good fit to back up Inciarte because Ender's left-handed.
0-1 pitch.
And Freddie Gonzalez said that was the toughest thing he's ever had to do, is tell Michael Bourne he didn't make the team.
No balls, 2 strikes for Ibar. Back to the mound. Scherzer with a nice pick. And that'll send us to inning number 4. Good duel. Teheran and Scherzer. Harper and Freeman. 1-1 your score.
MLB has partnered with Apple to put 12 iPad Pros in all 30 major league ballparks. Now, these iPads are loaded with player data on a custom app called MLB Dugout. Now, obviously, you are going to have some mixed reactions because you still do have your old school guys like Braves first base coach TP, who says he's used to his pen and paper like many other coaches. But then you have MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred, who says he wants baseball to be as popular with the current generation as it is the next one. So we'll have to see how it works out for the guys this season.
All right, Kelsey, thank you very much. The iPads aren't all that's new on our broadcast. Kelsey's joining us for the 2016 season. Kelsey Wingert. So, Kelsey, welcome. Glad you're here. Great job. She'll be reporting with Paul Burt from the Braves clubhouse here in 2016.
Yeah, and welcome to the ball club.
Julio's settled in after a long first inning. And Daniel Murphy leads things off and promptly jumps ahead. 2 balls, no strikes.
And he's missed to Murphy in that same spot. Both at bats. Walked him in the first.
In the air toward NCRT in center. Back toward the infield. Still going back. It's over his head and over the wall. Daniel Murphy has hit his first homer for Washington. It's now a 2-1 game. Both homers by the Nats, hit by the lefty batters.
And on a 2-0 count, fastball, middle of the plate, got his arms extended. And the wind still blowing out toward right center helped that one too. But that's what I was referring to, and I think Paul would back that up with respect to the left-handers. When Julio falls behind left-handed hitters, it's pretty much fastball.
Another shot to center, but Inciarte should handle this one. He does. Worth's retired. He's 0 for 2. 1 man down.
Joe, I like that you bring out that point. I would agree with you. You know, typically to a left-hander, you have to have an incredible changeup. You have to have some sort of an out pitch to keep them honest behind in the count. Julio more of the cutter curveball type, so you'd like to see him ahead in the count more. Easier sometimes said than done.
Absolutely, Paul, but I thought he had really gained some confidence in that changeup over the wintertime and then going into spring training, and he showed a couple of them early in the ball game today. It's something he's going to have to continue to work on and use when he's behind the lefties.
I agree, and as a pitcher, sometimes if you don't have that pitch, you'll stop throwing it, and the only way to get it is to keep throwing it. So even if you are struggling with it early in a game, you have to throw it, so they factor that in.
Ramos to left, singles in front of Oliveira. Second hit of the inning for Washington. And Danny Espinosa's the batter. Two runs on 4 hits for Washington. 2 of those hits homers, one by Harper, one by Murphy here in the 4th inning. Braves' lone hit was Freddie Freeman's 2-out homer in the first.
For Daniel Murphy, changing his address in the National League East from the Mets to the Nationals, you got to figure he's going to enjoy hitting in Nationals Park more than than Citibank Park.
Well, I'm with you on the Nationals ball club. I think you talk to their people, there is a much different vibe with this team. Matt Williams is a terrific baseball man, but as Thomas Boswell wrote in the Washington Post the other day, as this one's cued toward Ibar at short, flipped Peterson for 1 around the first. The chasm between the manager's office grew from a pothole to the Grand Canyon by season's end, and Dusty Baker's not going to let that happen. grow up fast, don't they? From Little League to the big leagues. That's Freddie Freeman, the Braves first baseman, who's accounted for the Braves hit and run today. And that's no surprise, Joe. We talked about it at the time. He's been wearing out the Nationals. That's our Georgia lottery hitting the jackpot.
I know he's a full-grown man, but he still looks like a kid to me. And I love the fact that he still acts like a kid in many ways. But you're right. Against the Nationals, he has had it his way. And a home run already today.
It's funny. Last year, every time we play the Nationals, we'd run into Steve McCatty, their former pitching coach. And the first thing he would ask is Freeman playing? Because he knew what Freddie Freeman was doing to his pitching staff. Freddie's homer came with 2 outs in the first. Ben Revere's out of the ball game. Michael Taylor has taken over in center. We'll let you know if there's a problem with Ben Revere. That would be the last thing Washington wants to have to deal with after 2015.
I think that happened with Denard Span first or second game of last season. Only thing I can think of is he had to try and leg out that swinging bunt that he hit his last time up. That guy, Michael Taylor, had an unbelievable spring.
Freddie didn't get the fastball. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And remember, he threw him 3 straight fastballs. He threw 2 by him, swings and misses, then tried a third, and he hit it over the center field wall.
And the slider got him. Freeman missed it. And Scherzer has another strikeout. That's his 3rd today. Garcia grounded out to short. That ended the Braves first.
Boy, Chipper was raving about this guy before the game around the batting cage. So this guy can hit. He said, and he's willing to listen and learn and get better.
No balls, 2 strikes. Well, every year a team seems to have 1 or 2 guys that turn out to be real finds. Garcia was one of them for the Braves last year. Jonas hit 10 homers in 58 games at the hot corner. And if Chipper Jones gives you an endorsement, that's a real good endorsement. There's a high fly ball hit deep toward left field. Track wall. Goodbye. We're tied on an 0-2 count.
That was almost one-handed as he was trying to reach out and cover that pitch. And man, did it jump off the bat. Late breaking slider, and he just went out around it. And it leaped off his bat. Tie game.
4 solo homers combined today. And here's Markakis. And the change drops in beautifully for a called strike.
You're 4th in the league in ERA, excuse me, 8th in the league in ERA, 2nd in strikeouts. Nobody talks too much about your home runs you allowed, but Scherzer gave up 27 last year, just like Julio did.
Marquez down on strikes.
Chipper was interesting today talking about that heavy bat that he started swinging in the minor leagues at the insistence of Willie Stargell. And he said it took him about 2 years, almost 3 years, swinging it constantly in the offseason to get used to it, because with a heavier bat, he said you got to swing it at more like 80%, because if you try to swing it 100%, all of a sudden you're trying to muscle it through the zone and you can't get it through there and you're going to be late. And he was saying at 80%, everything's working better. You're not trying to muscle the bat, you're just using your hands more. And he said, you know, how many times did I hit a ball with that heavier bat? He said, well, you guys would describe it. He goes, it didn't look like he hit it that well. And I can think of like multiple times, especially to left center where Chipper left-handed hit a ball. Didn't look like it was going out, but he said it was all the heavy bat, just getting it started.
Interesting. 1 or 2 ounces, what a difference that makes from a hitter's perspective.
Huge.
And Chipper, of course, had the great line about when he finally took to using that heavier bat. He said it was like falling in love, because it really did change his career. Back to the screen, out of play by Oliveira. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And a wider screen here at Turner Field this year.
All the way to the on-deck circles.
Providing some more safety for the fans.
And that's pretty much an MLB-wide initiative after a long off-season of studies about fan safety. So salute Major League Baseball for that. Coming to the ballpark, pay attention no matter where you sit. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Base is empty. We're tied at 2. And just a little low. Scherzer wanted that pitch.
Wind has really picked up, blowing across to right field.
Popped up. Zimmerman battling the sun. Makes the one-handed catch to end the Atlanta 4th. Those are some happy hands and happy fans. Another home run. This one by Adonis Garcia. 1 of 4 solo shots we've seen today. And we're all even after 4. Our dear friend Bobby Dews certainly would have enjoyed. The poet laureate of baseball passed away this past off season, and it's not the same here in Braves country without Bobby Dews in a Braves uniform and at the ballpark.
Wholeheartedly agree, and there's a lot of guys in the clubhouse still that would tell you that he had a major influence on them when he was coming up through the system, when they were coming up through the system.
Braves this year, I believe, are wearing a memorial patch on their sleeve to remember Bobby Dews. A great man, as John Schuerholz said on the inside cover of the Braves media guide. He was a good man and a dear friend to his Braves family. He will be truly missed. Fifth inning, Max Scherzer leads things off. And Teheran got him looking over the inside corner. Julio with his fourth strikeout. Good way to start the inning. We'll see Michael Taylor now for Ben Revere, who left a moment ago. Dusty Baker was raving about this kid in my chat with him before the ball game today. He's trying to find ways to get Taylor more at bats. As Joe said, he had a terrific spring. However, one thing he's got to do is make contact. 158 strikeouts, Joe, and 472 at bats last year.
That's a ton.
High fly ball to left. Oliveira in the sunshine. There's his first chance. No trouble. 2 out.
And Julio got away with another one there. Hanging breaking ball up in his eyes.
That'll bring up Rendon. He's hit the ball on the button twice. Has a single and a line out to show for it. Late. Nationals will play the Braves here on Wednesday night. Go home for their home opener Thursday afternoon against the Marlins. Then the Braves go back to D.C. and begin a 4-game series April 11th. Quickly, no balls, 2 strikes.
See, with a right-handed hitter, he gets ahead in the count, and Julio can go to a couple of different options. He can go to a 2-seamer, a sinker. He can go to the slider, especially the slider to right-handers.
In the air to center. Inciarte retreats. He'll have plenty of room, and Julio has an easy inning. 3 up, 3 down. Bottom part of the order up for the Braves in the home 5th. Schedule. The countdown is on for the move to SunTrust Park. Chipper Jones and Andrew Jones with the honors, peeling off the sticker. After today's play, there'll be 80 games left here at Turner Field.
Great to have those guys, those that could attend today, back from the '97 team. Mike Mordecai, Denny Nagel,
Fred McGriff,
and Javi Lopez, among others.
So you'll have the distinction when we get to next season of having worked in all 3 ballparks here in Atlanta. What was it like moving from Fulton County Stadium to Turner Field?
Well, it was the old phrase, outhouse to the castle. I mean, it was pretty much like that.
As A.J. pops one to the left side, shift was on, but Rendon is there, 1 out.
I mean, the move next year to SunTrust Park is going to be spectacular in its own right, with all the amenities that are afforded to fans and broadcasters and players. It just blows your mind what is going to take place over there, especially with all the battery around it, with all the restaurants, bars, shops, stores. It's going to be fabulous.
So can't wait for that. Hopefully our final 80 games at home will be as fun as this one has been to this point. We're tied at 2 with Jace Peterson batting with 1 out. And that one's off the netting foul, strike 1.
One of the things about that first game at Turner Field in '97 was that the stadium wasn't finished. 755 Club was still a work in progress. They were still hustling to try to get it done, and had a lot of things. When you think about the retrofit from the Olympics to get ready for baseball, you know, like 7 months later, pretty amazing.
No balls, 2 strikes. And that's taken to the dirt. Jace didn't chase it. 1-2 your count. Peterson hit .221 in the second half last year. As Joe mentioned, the bad thumb really affected his production. And he batted in several different spots in the lineup. A lot of the times as the leadoff man. He really wasn't suited for that role. But now that the Braves have a true 1-2 combination at the top of the order, Peterson can bat 8th, which presents its own special set of problems, but not nearly as much pressure as when you bat first. Hit the ball on the button his first time today and lined out to center. And a good cut there. Still 2-2.
Another thing about Scherzer's delivery, you've probably noticed already today, is that he's not right over the top. He's kind of got his right elbow tucked close to his body and almost looks like he's pushing the ball, like he's underneath it a little bit. But he creates a lot of movement on 95, 96 by not being right over the top.
Yeah, he's not a big legged guy like a Tom Seaver and drop and drive, but he really credits a very strict and stringent workout routine. Scherzer lifts weights, lifts a lot of weights, and throws almost every day in the offseason to keep his arm loose and limber. There's no time off for Max Scherzer. And he feels that's why he's able to generate such velocity and continue to hold that velocity deep into ball games.
He was originally a Diamondback. He was a first-round pick out of the University of Missouri by the D-backs before being traded to Detroit.
Bet they wish they had him now. Behind Shelby Miller and Zach Greinke, that'd be pretty formidable. As Jace didn't get it, strikes out. That's 5 for Scherzer. And Julio Teheran will be the hitter as we check in with Paul Bird.
Well, guys, I love you talking about Max Scherzer, and yeah, I'm a huge Braves fan, but we got to give credit where credit's due. When I asked the Nationals what was so impressive about him, yes, he has a great workout routine, and but here's the thing that they said: he's an incredible preparer. He knows what hitters hit in certain counts. He knows what they had for breakfast. It's a huge part of his game, and I think that's just something to be brought out when you see somebody with all of this talent. Sometimes they'll ignore the scouting report and say, I'm just going to pitch my game. But he wants to know everything about those opponents and is really a student of the scouting report.
A little Peyton Manning-like, if you want to relate it to somebody in another sport that's always been talked about as a guy who nobody's going to outwork him or out-prepare him. Well, might apply that same thing to Scherzer,
who just struck out Julio Teheran and pushes our game to inning number 6. Bryce Harper leads off for the Nats next. Simpson's 25th anniversary in the Braves broadcasting booth. Delaware North and the Braves have unveiled a new menu for the 2016 season, and they were kind enough to bring us a few examples of some of the offerings for the fans in the ballpark this year.
We've got an onion ring in a roll with a steak. It's like a steak sandwich with the onion ring and then bacon on the skewers.
Yeah, I don't have a press release for what that particular item is called, but they did bring us the burgerizza, which I think is the most intriguing thing.
Is that this one?
No, getting warmer. Big thing right there.
This?
Yeah.
Oh,
can you look?
Gosh.
You need a stagehand to help you with that. That is the burgerizza. A grilled 20-ounce all-beef patty covered with 5 slices of cheddar cheese, topped with bacon, and served between 2 8-inch bruschetta pepperoni pizzas.
Oh, it's in there.
Yeah.
Wow.
As Bryce Harper leads off the 6th inning.
What's that called again?
Burgerizza. I think that's
Burgerizza.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right?
That's like for a whole section.
I could just hear us getting fatter.
Well,
That's in the taste of the majors in fan plazas where you could purchase that.
Well, a high five to the folks at Delaware North Sports Service. They're the new concessionaire here at Turner Field, and we'll go over to SunTrust Park as well. And we got first-hand glimpse of it today in the press room here for our lunch. Outstanding. Absolutely outstanding.
Pop back our way and foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes. So we'll look forward to that all summer long here at Turner Field, and of course at new SunTrust Park next year with all these great offerings. A little bummed they didn't bring us the Ted dog, by the way. Tell you about that. 1 ball, 2 strikes. It's a foot-long hot dog with fries, chili, nacho chips, beer cheese, and jalapenos, topped with popcorn, then drizzled with Coca-Cola infused barbecue sauce and served in a pretzel bun. Two balls, 2 strikes for Bryce Harper, who takes high, full count.
Well, I'm right there with Napoleon Dynamite because I'm a tater tot guy.
Yes, you are.
So how about the tater tot chop? Layer of tater tots pressed in a waffle iron loaded with bacon, melted cheese, and jalapenos, topped with a second tater tot waffle with Coca-Cola infused ketchup.
Harper rolls over the top. That's what we saw Julio do to the lefties this spring. And Harper is an easy out to start the 6th.
Took a little off the breaking ball. Still stayed up, but out away from him. Didn't make a mistake with that down and in, and he rolled over the top of it.
Always good to retire Bryce Harper, but you're not out of the woods yet. Zimmerman, then Murphy. Zimmerman's 0 for 2. One ball, no strikes. Joe mentioned earlier, little change in rotation plans for the Nationals. Their original rotation had Gio Gonzalez facing the Braves on Wednesday. They've changed that to Steven Strasburg. Bud Norris will make his Braves debut here on Wednesday night. Big year for Steven Strasburg. He's a looming free agent for the Nationals. Out of play, foul by Zimmerman.
Their bullpen's got a different look too. Guys we're used to seeing over the years. Drew Storen was traded for Ben Revere. Craig Stammen, who was such a stalwart in any capacity for them in their bullpen, is also gone.
I thought it was a bit of a surprise that the man everyone thought would be gone isn't. That's Jonathan Papelbon.
Yep.
And a base hit by Zimmerman. On a 1-2 pitch, he's aboard in front of Murphy, who homered his last time up.
Another bad off-speed pitch. Bad in the sense that he left it up and gave a big tall hitter a chance to reach out and hit it. It appeared to be just a straight change, and you can see his disgust with it.
So now Julio's got to bear down and get the lefty, Daniel Murphy. Zimmerman, with that long history of foot problems, probably isn't going to be stealing. And he's got a pretty short lead at first. Game tied at 2. Braves have 2 hits, both of them homers. And AJ, a nice stop, but a ball in the dirt. 1 ball, no strikes. AJ couldn't corral that one, and Zimmerman moves up. Wild pitch.
That was some excellent base running by Zimmerman. Change up in the dirt, but he read that right away that it was going to be down and a chance to go in the dirt, and he broke immediately. Anticipated it and read it right.
So now you got to be careful with Murphy, who's ahead in the count. 2 balls, no strikes. First final of the day is in. The Giants beat Milwaukee 12-3 at Miller Park. Madison Bumgarner got the start for the Giants today. It's an even year. Beware the Giants out west.
AJ was giving that sign almost out of the catcher's box. I don't know if that was because Julio was having trouble seeing with that sunlight kind of cutting across the infield. He set up way outside just to give the sign.
Full count for Murphy.
.20 pitch. He threw him a fastball his last time up, and he hit a home run. 2-0 count this time. He threw him a changeup for a strike. Like Dan Winkler in the bullpen getting loose.
And Murphy nearly got hit. So Teheran lost him. 2 on, 1 out. Jason Worth is the batter. 3 walks for Teheran. All 3 of them come to left-hand hitters for the Nationals today. And Roger McDowell will buy Winkler a little more time.
And he's got 30 seconds to do it.
That's right. That's one of the new rules in baseball this year. Mound meetings are to last no longer than 30 seconds. And they do have a clock. It's right underneath the scoreboard at the AT&T sign. And Jerry Meals makes his way out. Rogers not done. The clock's already expired. And Roger buys a few extra. How in the world are they going to enforce that?
I don't know, unless it's someone very stern, a la Joe West, who, to the letter of the law, either get off the mound or I'm going to throw you off. I don't know.
I wonder if Roger has to take one of those speed talking courses to get his full message in. So Julio back to work with Jason Worth, who struck out and popped out. And Powder River, strike 1 called.
Worth, ordinarily very aggressive early in the count in RBI situations, took that strike. Now ahead in the count, don't make a mistake, don't give in. See if you can get Worth to expand his zone and maybe roll over the top of a pitch, maybe a comebacker, start a double play.
Washington's hitting to one of those today. Espinosa did that back in the 4th. Now AJ Przinsky wants to talk it over. Big spot in the ball game. Nationals threatening. 2 on, 1 out, tied at 2. Bryce Harper homered in his first at bat. Freddie Freeman homered in his first time up today. Little pop into shallow right. Markakis got an excellent jump and got there.
That was a great jump. It is very difficult for the outfielders to pick the ball up off the bat too when it's in the shadows and you're standing in bright sunshine, and in Nick's case the sun, you look up and the sun's right in your eyes. That's a tough read off the bat this time of day. Nice play.
So 2 on, 2 out for Wilson Ramos, the catcher. And strike 1 to the Nationals catcher. Edward Markakis, 398 games in the outfield without an error. Ironically, that streak was snapped against the Washington team at Nationals Park. Now Julio way ahead with 2 strikes. Top of the order is lurking for the Braves in the 6th. Let's see if Julio can keep it tied. Crowd awaits pitch number 102.
Made a good pitch to get Worth when he was ahead in the count. Needs to make another one.
Popped up again to right. Markakis battling the sun. He's there, and Julio's out of trouble. The Nats strand a pair. Inciarte set to lead off in a tie game in the 6th.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Atlanta Braves and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Atlanta Braves.
At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Home 6th, tie game, top of the order. Great chance for the Braves now against Max Scherzer, who has struck out 6 through his first 5 innings of work. Inciarte tried to bunt, missed it, down a strike. Inciarte's game was compared to someone Braves fans knew to love here in Atlanta, Martin Prado. Same kind of approach for Inciarte. As this one's popped up towards short, Espinosa will have no trouble. And there's the first out. They don't hit the same way, but they approach the game and their work ethic the same way.
Very similar people in the way they go about their business, like you said. Not so coincidentally, they're both from Venezuela. And boy, after what happened to A.J. Pollock the other night for the Diamondbacks, do you think Arizona would like to have Inciarte back?
Yeah, fractured elbow on a head-first slide at the plate.
Did you see the slide?
I did not.
I did, and it was almost like he was just trying to hold himself up as he was sliding, and his elbow just gave out. But apparently it's not the first time that's happened.
Apparently he fractured that elbow in the growth plates years ago, as that one is scorched past Zimmerman. Ibar has a base hit, his first as a Brave. And there's a 1-out start to the inning. Third Braves hit of the day.
Remember, Ryan Zimmerman is a former third baseman. He's used to hot shots, but this ball was by him. Hit so hard he couldn't get down in time to try to knock it down. Braves are in business.
And here's the man you want up with men on base, Freddie Freeman. 6th straight opening start at first base for the Braves, a new franchise record. Asked Chris Chambliss for that honor today.
I wonder if he's got a thing about throwing over to first. I think I'd want to extend my lead and force him to try to pick me off.
Ibar's got a good lead. Washington still has a shift on as time is called.
Well, one of the best defenses against a base stealer is just to hold the ball. So if he doesn't like to throw over, Scherzer's certainly doing a good job of just holding it.
Ibar can steal a base. He stole 15 last year with the Angels. Freeman broke his bat and pops it toward Rendon. Tried to go the other way, but he's the second out. And the final hope in the inning is Adonis Garcia. He's grounded out and he's homered today. Love to see men drive the ball behind in the count. That's what Garcia did last time up. An 0-2 pitch that he launched over Worth's head into the stands in left. And he was thinking about doing it again.
Another thing about Adonis in spring training, 55 plate appearances. He had 5 strikeouts.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Bet you that's another reason why Chipper was so happy to praise his game. No balls and a strike. And 0-2.
See, from that angle, it almost looks like he's dropping down a little bit with that fastball at 95. He's not. It's not sidearm, but it's a real low 3/4 delivery.
Tipped and caught, and that'll retire the side. We head to the 7th. Our duel in Atlanta continues. bobblehead. Chris Stapleton in concert, the 1991 NLCS replica ring giveaway. These are just a few of the great giveaways and events planned this year as part of our season-long celebration of the final year here at Turner Field. Check a calendar of Braves events, braves.com/promotions, and get your tickets today. Chipper Jones has seen the Braves hit 2 homers today. And now we'll see first man out of the bullpen. Dan Winkler relieves Julio Teheran as this game moves to the top of the 7th.
Dan Winkler pitched his way onto this ball club. He's a Rule 5 draft that if the Braves don't keep him through June 1st, they have to offer him back to the Colorado Rockies. Well, that was not going to happen when you look at these numbers. No walks, 17 strikeouts in 11 innings in his work in spring training. And most of that damage against him was done his last outing.
And Danny Espinosa tried to bunt, couldn't get the bat back out of the way, and took a strike. This is not Winkler's major league debut. He pitched in 2 games for the Braves last year.
Espinosa didn't know whether to bunt or duck.
Espinosa's 0 for 2, and that's the count, 0-2. Decision for Dusty Baker. Pitcher spot is due next.
Good work by Teheran. He limited them just 2 runs on the 2 homers. He did walk 3 guys. Was behind in the count quite a bit, but he managed it. And when they did get some guys on, especially in the first inning after a 2-out error and a 2-out walk, he pitched around that, managed that well.
So Teheran making his 3rd straight opening day start. Last Brave to do that was Derek Lowe. 2 runs on 5 hits today. And Espinosa blown away with a 92-mile-an-hour fastball. Winkler off to a good start. That's out number 1. And Scherzer is going to stay in the game. I think it'll be very interesting to see how the Braves bullpen works this year. How the Braves bullpen is composed this year. Breaking camp, Atlanta has 1 left-hander in the bullpen. Eric O'Flaherty was brought back by the Braves in the final week of spring training, and he is up and throwing just in case this lineup gets down to Bryce Harper.
Eric's thrilled to be back with the Braves.
Nationals have 2 lefties, Oliver Perez and Felipe Rivero, available for Dusty Baker. And Scherzer behind 1 ball, 2 strikes. It's no secret that a gigantic Achilles heel, and I pause when I use that analogy.
Yeah, don't go there.
For the Braves last year was the bullpen. As Winkler strikes out the first 2 he faces. Some of that in part to Jason Grilli's injury and the trades of Avilan and Jim Johnson to the Dodgers at the deadline.
Center fielder number 3, Michael Taylor.
It's great to see our pal Tom Hart. So odd to see Tom at the ballpark not eating a hamburger.
Well, and not have on some chartreuse shorts. But you're right. The injury to Grilli had such a ripple effect on this ball club. The bullpen especially, but I think through the whole team and how it affected the end of the ball games where they had leads. A lot of guys forced into roles that they weren't prepared for.
And not even the end of the game. The Braves would lead in the 5th inning and the wheels would fall off.
Yeah. And what Dan Winkler is pounding the strike zone.
And he just struck out the side in his season debut.
Elevated that last one.
3 up, 3 down. Stretch time at Turner Field for the first time.
hit back-to-back home runs in the 7th inning versus the Brewers. First, it's Span, and then you're going to see Joe Panic. He goes yard after that, and then, of course, Buster Posey will follow with a bomb of his own. Now, the Giants ended up taking that game 12-3 over the Brewers.
Great report, Kelsey. Thanks a lot. A lot of folks were talking about the Diamondbacks and their big ticket signing of Zach Greinke and Shelby Miller, that they could be a surprise team in the American League West. To overlook a healthy Giants club with Bruce Bochy at the helm and that pitching staff in an even numbered year is a, I think, big mistake.
And they added Jeff Samardzija to the rotation. Yeah. Not a bad add-on to the back of the rotation. And yeah, they're going to be awfully tough. I have either one of those teams at the top of the National League West, and the Dodgers third if they play well.
And if they can field a team as beat up as the Dodgers are.
Yeah.
As we head to the home 7th with a great rendition of God Bless America by Timothy Miller. That got this big crowd fired up. Let's see if Nick Markakis can start the 7th successfully. He's 0 for 2 in his debut today. Quickly, no balls, 2 strikes. Nick Markakis racked up a lot of hits the other way, as you see on our Academy Sports and Outdoors leaderboard.
Second only to DJ LeMahieu of the Rockies, their second baseman. Nick could take a line drive to left center right here. Different breaking ball there, a slow curve. 91 pitches so far for Max Scherzer. Julio threw 102.
And action's beginning in the Nationals bullpen. Sean Kelly and Oliver Perez have begun to loosen up. Scherzer approaching 100 pitches. His bid for back-to-back no-hitters in successive starts was snapped by Freddie Freeman's 2-out homer in the first inning.
Yeah, if you missed it, that was an exciting first inning. Bryce Harper goes deep. The bottom of the first, Freddie goes deep.
That's something we saw Nick do a lot last year.
Spoil out pitches.
Yes.
Yeah. Tough to strike out.
181 hits last year for Nick. 83 strikeouts and 612 at bats. And he's worked the count to 3-2. And a leadoff walk. There's the start. Second walk for Scherzer.
Here's one of those pitches that I was talking about earlier that Kevin Seitzer talked about, him pulling the pitch. See, the target's away, but Scherzer pulls that one all the way across his body over his front foot and misses badly. I mean, it wasn't that far off the plate, but because of the catcher setting up outside, it made it look even worse. Great at bat. Good walk.
Oliveira bats with nobody out. That's in for a strike. Oliveira, the first strikeout victim of Scherzer today. He's also popped out to first. Rolled toward third. Rendon to second, 1. Murphy the turn, not nearly quick enough. 2 long throws. Oliveira beats the rapid first.
Are we going to get a call at second base on the new slide rule?
I think we are. And Markakis now is going to talk that over with Paul Nauert. Oliveira is going to be called out on the double play on the new slide rule to second base.
There's nothing wrong with that.
have to be able to hang on to the second base bag. That's one of the parts of the new rule. And did Markakis lose contact at second base?
Now that's one of the rules. One of the parts of the rule is you've got to make an attempt to hang on to the base. And he slid over the bag. Goodness.
So that's a 5-4-3 double play.
He hit the ground first before he hit the player. But there's Murphy pointing at how he slid past the bag and did not hang on to it, or did not even attempt to hang on to it.
So the new slide rule at second base hurts the Braves here in the 7th. As A.J. Brzezinski bats with the bases clear and 2 outs. A.J. is struck out and popped out.
How do you score that? I guess it's
double play. Yes.
5-4-3.
Yep.
Huh.
Braves bullpen back to work. It's Arodys Vizcaíno up. And that's an interesting storyline to talk about here in the early going for this season. Braves have 3 men who could conceivably close games for you: Jim Johnson, Jason Grilli, and Vizcaíno. But Freddie Gonzalez has said that he wants his strikeout guy Vizcaíno to maybe match up with the most difficult parts of an opposing lineup late, no matter the inning. So he is not the designated 9th inning closer by any stretch of the imagination, but he could come on to close games in the 7th or the 8th or the 9th, depending on the opposing lineup. And looking ahead to the 8th, it's exactly what he would be facing: Rendon, Harper, and Zimmerman.
The designated tough inning guy.
Or DTIG.
Well, DTIG is, you know, one of the new initials we'd like to work in with War and.
There you go. I like it.
Something that ends in PIP. I don't know what that is.
Zimmerman hit Scherzer on the fly. And the slide rule takes the Braves out of a potential go-ahead inning. Off we go to the 8th. Big Bopper's up for the Nats.
The Atlanta Braves 2016 opening day is brought to you by The Works Turbine, the fastest way to clear leaves. It's work season.
Seven in the books. 2-2 is your score. Joe and Chip with you on opening day in Atlanta. Dan Winkler with a very impressive season debut. Struck out the side. He'll give way to another power arm, Arodys Vizcaíno, who pitched in 36 games for the Braves last year, partner, and looked very, very good.
He was outstanding. 160 ERA, better than a strikeout per inning pitched, and a low batting average against. When he took over that role after Grilli was hurt, He never looked back. He was absolutely the one guy you could count on every night at the end of the game. It was just trying to get the game to him with a lead.
And what do you think of this, for lack of a better term, outside the box thinking of Freddie Gonzalez and how he uses the pen?
I've always liked it. I've always thought, you know, sometimes managers get in a rut of, no, this guy's just going to pitch the 9th inning. But sometimes the game's on the line in the 8th inning, and you need that guy to come in and work an inning plus, or get out of a jam, or in this case face the heart of the lineup. I like it.
First pitch, hot shot to short. Rendon hits it to Ibar, who throws a strike to first, and Freeman held the bag for the first out.
Hard hit ball. He took his time to get his feet set. Nice stretch by the big first baseman.
Vizcaíno pitched in 7 games, 7 innings this spring, had 11 strikeouts. For Atlanta, gets his first man, and here's Harper. Reigning MVP, homered in his first at bat in the first inning. He's walked and bounced out his other times up. And that one just missed, ball 1.
At 98.
The hitting conditions now with almost the entire infield in shadow.
And the batter's eye lit up back there. Bright sunshine. Tough. Very tough. The lights are on, and that is helping somewhat. When a guy's throwing 98, 97, I don't care how light it, how bright it is, it's not enough.
2 balls, 1 strike for Bryce Harper. In the bottom of the 8th inning, Jace Peterson, then the pitcher spot, then Enciarte are scheduled for the Braves. It's been a punch, counter punch kind of game. Nationals scored on a Harper first inning homer. Atlanta answered in the first with Freeman's shot. Daniel Murphy homer to start the 4th. Garcia answered in the Braves half with a solo shot. And now full count.
You know how this ballpark would go electric when Craig Kimbrell came in and was lighting up that radar gun? This guy's throwing just as hard. He's going to hit 100 at some point during the season. Fans need to get on board with the fact that Arodys Vizcaíno, he may not be as successful given his limited experience as a Craig Kimbrell, but he's got just as big an arm.
And he lost Harper with a 1-out walk. Second time Harper has walked today. And that'll bring up Ryan Zimmerman. Zimmerman with a base hit his last time up is 1 for 3. You like chances of turning 2 if he can get him to hit the ball on the ground. And a slider strike.
Yeah, nice way to start him there without the fastball. Got the breaking ball over for a strike 1.
Had a good cut, but fouled it back. And Zimmerman behind 0-2.
Well, that's a swing we've seen from several Braves hitters today against Scherzer late. It was a good swing, but the fastball was on Zimmerman in this case before he could get the barrel out there.
Zimmerman last year hit 11 homers, 39 RBIs, and scored 21 runs in the final 39 games he played after the DL stint. And And he was fooled badly there and struck out on 3 pitches. How about that sequence from Arodys Vizcaíno? Braves bullpen has 4 strikeouts in an inning and 2/3 so far today, and 2 are out.
I'm not sure what that was. I mean, it looked like a changeup almost, and if he's got that to go with his slider, hello.
So be careful of Daniel Murphy. 2 walks and a homer in his Nationals debut. And that's fouled back. Strike 1. Braves like their bullpen in 2016. It's deeper. A lot of young arms down there. Last year Atlanta used 37 pitchers, including Johnny Gomes.
It's deeper, but it's also more experience. Getting Jim Johnson back, getting Eric O'Flaherty back in a Braves uniform, and getting Jason Grilli healthy to go with Vizcaíno.
Good pitch. Swing and a miss.
Same pitch that struck out Zimmerman. Great location with both of the what appear to be changeups. I'm not sure what it is.
Harper's going. The pitch is dropped by Pierzynski. And now the count's 2-2. Ball skipped up there. No chance for AJ to catch it cleanly. So Harper gets the stolen base. Now the danger here. A hit could lead to a Washington run.
Well, he picked the perfect pitch to run on with the ball in the dirt.
Big sequence right here.
And a right-handed hitter on deck. Don't be too anxious to give in to him.
AJ smothered that. And now 3-2. Told you Murphy, very tough man to strike out. You've got Worth waiting next, who's had an 0 for 3 day today.
He's seen the breaking ball. He's seen the changeup. Let's see what they decide to do here with a base open.
He struck him out. What a pitch. Something off speed, and Murphy missed it by a foot. We head to the home 8th, still tied at 2. today. That means we've got a couple of good Toyota key plays of the game. Harper and Freeman in the first. And then in the fourth, Murphy and Garcia went yard.
On an 0-2 pitch, Adonis turned that slider around into the bleachers. 5 hits for the Nats, 3 for the Braves, 4 homers on the day total. New pitcher for the Nationals as well, a flame-throwing left-hander.
That's Felipe Rivero. And with that in mind, the Braves have bolstered their bench for situations just like this. Jace Peterson will be taken down, and Gordon Beckham will make his Braves debut. There are some who say Rivero is a closer in waiting. That first pitch, easy gas at 95.
Yeah, short arm action too.
And a little late.
What a great opportunity for Gordon Beckham and the guy on deck, Jeff Francoeur. Beckham comes home, never played here, but he's from Atlanta, went to University of Georgia, and of course most of you already know about the history of Jeff Francoeur in the Atlanta Braves.
0-2 pitch and a swing and a miss. Rivero with the 3rd highest fastball velocity in the big leagues last year. And here's Jeff Francoeur. Good cut, fouled it back.
How nice is that?
I asked him before the game, when did this hit you? When you knew you made the team or on your drive in today? And he said a little of both. And these are the spots that the Braves envision Francoeur filling. Pitch hitting against tough lefties, a threat off the bench. And Jeff did a great job of that last year with the Phillies.
Well, Jeff can turn around a fastball, so he better be careful where he locates it.
Remember, Jeff Francoeur on July 7th, 2005, in his big league debut, hit a homer against the Cubs. Can he do it again today? In his return to the Atlanta Braves. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And Rivero went to his off-speed pitch. It was a good one. The one thing for a pinch hitter like Jeff, who had such success last year with the Phillies, is you come into a situation like this late in the game, you don't want to get beat on the fastball. You got to be sitting on that fastball and adjust to anything else, and now he's got a 3-2 pitch to work on.
Francoeur led all major leaguers in pinch hit average last year. 11 for 30, a 367 mark. Drove in 11 runs. Made the Phillies opening day roster for the first time since 2013 when he was a Royal. And Jeff Francoeur walks with 1 out in the 8th.
I want to tell you something. The first hack he had at him at that 97 fastball intimidated Rivero to be careful the rest of that at bat. He laid off a couple of off-speed pitches. He fouled off a 3-2 off-speed pitch, and Rivero was nowhere near that 3-2 fastball. He was so concerned about making a mistake with it.
So Francoeur will stand at first with 1 out, representing the winning run. Ender Inciarte bats. Lefty-lefty matchup. Don't envy him this challenge with Rivero. And he had a good cut. Braves also have Drew Stubbs, another right-hand hitter for situations like this, but Freddie's going to stick with Inciarte here.
Well, Ender's going to have to tune it up a notch. That was weird. It almost looked like he was going to throw to first and then changed his mind midstream and went to the plate. Does that look like that to you?
Yeah. Yep.
Maybe it was just one of those big body turn bluffs to first and then to the plate. Whatever it was, it didn't work.
Rivero came over from the Tampa Bay Rays last February. Nathan Carnes was sent to Tampa. Jose Lobaton, Drew Vedelson, and Rivero came back. Two and two.
It's funny that the Braves, right at the end of spring training in the last week or so, they had like 5 ties.
Yes.
There will be no tie today.
No. What a good ball game, though. Great way to start the home slate. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And that stayed high. Now Francoeur can get a head start with 1 out.
Yeah, just don't get picked off. Might cause you to get a late start, but don't get picked off if you're going.
Broken bat. And out of play. Francoeur was not running with the lefty on the mound, so Inciarte a new bat. Let's see what he can do with another 3-2 pitch. Ramos, an excellent catch and throw receiver as well. There's the risk of a strikeout throwout in this situation, so Freddie may be playing it safe with Ibar waiting on deck. Big gap in right center if Ender can pull one there. He hits it to left. Worth on the run, can't get there. And Inciarte with a 3-2 count, singles to left, and the Braves are in business. 2 on, 1 out.
Pretty good at bat there, wasn't it?
You bet.
Against an extremely tough left-hander, he goes the other way. Fastball. Served it in front of Worth, who was playing him toward the line and shallow, but he still dropped it in front of him, and Inciarte's been on base twice today in 4 trips.
And now Ibar, the beauty of having him hit second, he's a switch hitter. He'll turn around and hit from the right side here with Francoeur in scoring position in a 2-2 game.
Anything but a double play. Got Freeman on deck. Freddie doesn't mind lefties or righties and was great last year with men in scoring position.
Best in baseball. The pitch. Ibar slashes that to right. That ball is foul. It was slicing. And that would have scored a pair had it dropped. Instead, it's strike 1 for Ibar.
Yeah, Eric may just take matters into his own hands. Boy, Inciarte can run, and he was off at the crack of the bat. He would have scored.
Ibar drove in 44 runs last year.
Taylor in center, very shallow.
Little pop. Murphy drifts out behind second. And he's going to make the play. Infield fly takes care of Ibar. And now there are 2 outs. And it's a lefty-lefty matchup. You want power versus power, you've got it. Rivero versus Freddie Freeman. And Mike Maddox, in his first season as the Nationals pitching coach, will make his first visit to the mound.
Yeah, not only did they change managers. They overhauled their coaching staff. As you mentioned, Davey Lopes, their new first base coach. Quite a pickup to get Mike Maddox. He just joined us. First inning, 2 outs. Freddie Freeman's first at bat of the 2016 season. Tied the game with a homer to straightaway center. After Bryce Harper had homered in the top of the inning.
Freddie Freeman led all major leaguers with a .376 batting average with runners in scoring position. He played 118 games.
Trouble was he just wasn't in enough games to make that even more impressive. This is the guy you want up there, though, no matter who's pitching.
Now the Nationals have a shift on for Freeman. It's not as dramatic as usually the case with Francoeur at second base. But Joe, we've seen Freddie hit the ball the other way in spots like this.
Absolutely.
Question is, will they give him anything good to hit with an unproven Adonis Garcia on deck and Kelly warming in the pen? So far, the answer to that is no.
Pretty obvious. But 3-0, Freddie's certainly got a green light here.
All bets are off now. 3 balls and a strike. Strike call, late call. Freeman was on his way to first base. So instead of the bases loaded, now it's a full count.
And I think Ramos got crossed up there, which made the pitch look even worse. Look at that. He just boxed that. And it actually wasn't that bad a pitch, but boy, it looked worse. Ramos is fortunate that didn't go right through the wickets.
Francoeur and Inciarte will be running with the pitch. And Freeman got hit by a pitch. Bases are loaded.
Let's hope that was forearm and not hand.
Assistant athletic trainer Jim Lovell and Freddie Gonzalez out to check with Freddie Freeman. Let's see where it got him.
Oh, right on the elbow.
So Francoeur starts the rally with a walk. Inciarte a single to left after an Ibar pop out. Freeman's hit by a pitch. And that'll end the day for Felipe Rivero. Adonis Garcia, the stage is yours in a tie game late.
you by your local Toyota dealers. Let's go places. And the Georgia Lottery.
Game on the bases for the Braves. They're loaded with 2 outs in the home 8th. Game tied 2 apiece. Wednesday, we wrap up our brief series with the Nationals on Fox Sports South. Final game of the series. Wednesday with coverage starting at 6:30 on Fox Sports South, your home of the Braves, and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. It's April in the ATL, presented by Cook's Pest Control. Another new face for the Nationals, right-hander Sean Kelly. New 3-year contract for him. He's got a mess to clean up.
Heavy sinking fastball, throws 90 to 94. Ground ball type guy, good control. Slider to go with it. Whoa!
Almost too much sink. Great stop by Ramos to save a run.
Good play by the Nats catcher, and he paid the price for that one.
Oh.
Off the wrist. Got a 53-foot slider. Might have saved the game for the Nationals right there. But they certainly saved a run.
No place to put Garcia, who's ahead in the count. Jerry Ville's letting Ramos shake it off. That left wrist already heavily taped, and he got smoked in the left arm. Francoeur leads from third. Inciarte at second, Freeman at first, and now it's 2-0.
Boy, did he aim that one. He didn't want to throw that one in the dirt, and it was like he was just trying to guide the ball.
The crowd rises as one. Ball 4. Francoeur trots home, and the Braves have the lead.
Were any of those pitches anywhere close? This guy's a 7-year veteran. He came in like a rookie, throwing the ball all over the place. And for Ramos, he'd had enough. He already knew it was ball 4.
That's the end of the line for Kelly. A bases loaded walk puts the Braves in front.
By Georgia Power and Xfinity. X1 from Xfinity will change the way you experience sports.
The Braves manufacture the go-ahead run with a bases-loaded walk in the 8th inning and now lead 3-2. Fans this week only. T-Mobile customers can get a free season-long subscription to MLB.TV Premium. Go to T-Mobile.com/MLB to sign up now and catch every moment on America's fastest-growing LTE network. Battle of the bullpens right now. The Braves are winning that and the game as they take aim at a veteran left-hander, Oliver Perez.
Great numbers in the spring, and last year was pitching great for the Diamondbacks, resurrecting his career out of the bullpen. They traded him to Houston, and it was bad news over there. 0-3 with a 6 ERA down the stretch for the Astros. Fastball slider now. Low to mid-90s in his fastball, but he can walk you too.
And he pumps over a strike. Perez, when he came up with San Diego, was traded to the Pirates and was going to be the next great star in the major leagues. 2004 had a sub-3 ERA and 30 starts. Had a 15-win season with the Mets and then control problems. In fact, Perez went all the way down to Double-A. Spent the entire year at Harrisburg in the Nationals organization and then converted to the bullpen, and his career was resurrected with Seattle. And you can see why he's tough on lefties.
Yeah, and he used a slide step there and kind of quick pitched Nick. And he's throwing that breaking ball from down under, and he's throwing it right at him, causing it to break then over the plate.
And a changeup got Markakis, and that retires the side. But a Jeff Francoeur walk started the inning. A bases loaded walk to Garcia gives the Braves a lead, and 3 outs to get. Fans, you can now stream games live on your mobile device. Go to your app store and download the free Fox Sports Go app. Log in and then watch the live stream. Now you can take your Braves wherever you go. Coors Light cold hard facts. Braves didn't have many moments like this head-to-head with the Nationals last year.
Especially in Washington. They were 14-5 against the Braves. Braves didn't win one game in Washington, D.C. last year. Pretty much doubling up Braves in average runs per game, and certainly a lot more homers. But this is where late August, September, the Braves really, the shortage in the bullpen really showed up. Vizcaino did a great job in the 8th. Now you got Grilli to finish the game today. Finish it up. Don't let it get away. A hard-earned run there in the 8th inning.
He's got the 6, 7, 8 hitters coming up for the Nationals. It starts with Jason Worth. Worth has struck out and flied out twice. Grilli was terrific last year. 24 saves. Gordon Beckham's in the game to play second. Jeff Francoeur stays in the game to play left.
Oh.
AJ held it there, didn't get the call. Really 24 out of 26 in saves last year for getting hurt July 11th in Colorado. Remarkably, here he is on opening day. And now he's promptly gone 3-0.
Well, his problem right now is more about being amped up, adrenaline, fired up to be out there opening day.
And 4 straight. Worth trots to first with a leadoff walk in the top of the ninth. Make sure you join us after our game. Braves Live. We'll recap all of today's action. Check in with the skipper Freddie Gonzalez and head to the clubhouse to hear from the players. It's Braves Live after the game, presented by Xfinity. Let's see how Dusty Baker plays it with Wilson Ramos up there. He's a candidate for 2 if he can get it on the ground. Worth measures off a big lead at first. 3-2 Atlanta in the ninth.
This guy likes first pitch. Thank you.
He was late. High slider. 0-2.
This guy's got great plate coverage too. I've seen him on several occasions against the Braves behind in the count, reach out, slap one or drive one to right. Good pitch, good spot. He didn't chase.
Fought that off. Ramos was a big-time RBI man, second among National League catchers with 68 of them last year. Only Buster Posey had more. He also hit 15 homers. He's behind in the count here. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Base hit the other way. Worth around second, will stop there. 2 on, nobody out. And Espinosa's coming up. Braves fans, becoming an A-list member today and get multiple ticket options and exclusive benefits for your unique needs. Call now to secure the best seats for the final year here at Turner Field and the first season at SunTrust Park. Don't miss out on being an A-list member today. Go to Braves.com/A-list or call 404-577-9100.
Well, this is a guy that might be asked to bunt. He handles the bat well. Dusty Baker's got a couple of guys on the bench he can go to, and Stephen Drew, a left-handed hitter, Chris Heisey, who made the team. Reed Johnson was released. It's Stephen Drew on deck.
Let's see what Espinosa does. He does show bunt, and he took a ball. Espinosa had 3 sacrifices last year. Foul ball, even count.
The advantage for Espinosa and the Nationals here is a test for Jason Grilli. Coming off the mound. I know, I'm sure his ankle is taped up, but still less than a year away from that Achilles injury. You bunt it to third base, you force Grilli to try and field it. He's got a long way to go. You might get a base hit out of it.
But Espinosa's now down to his last strike.
Well, that's a break for Atlanta, because Espinosa's running out of the box like he is trying to bunt for a base hit instead of getting the bunt down and giving himself up. He was already leaning and ready to cross over at the point of contact. Big break here, unless he's able to bunt with 2 strikes and get it down.
Freeman backs up at first base. Garcia step in at third. Beckman Ibar, normal depth up the middle. 1-2. He's bunting, and he's able to lay it down nicely. Freeman and Grilli met at the baseball, and nobody could handle the ball cleanly.
They weren't going to get him anyway.
That ball hit and had Masters green backspin, and the bases are loaded with nobody out.
Breaking ball too, and he popped it up, but then it just bit. And with Freddie, as you said, backing up with 2 strikes, he had too far to go. They weren't going to get him.
So now Drew bats with the bases full of Nationals and nobody out.
Infield will play back up the middle. They would concede the tying run for a chance for a double play to try to cut into this inning. Anything to third base or back to the mound, they'd come home.
Drew hit 17 homers with the Yankees last year. Hit just .201.
His batting average has taken a beating the last 2 or 3 years. But a good fastball hitter.
Late on that one though, 0-2.
Good pitch. Looked like a 2-seamer kind of sinking down and away. So another 0-2 count. You had Ramos 0-2. You had Espinosa behind in the count.
Mike Rizzo, when he was the president of baseball operator, general manager with, when he was the scouting director with Arizona, Mike Rizzo, now the Nationals GM, selected Stephen Drew out of Florida State 12 years ago. Now he's got him back with Washington. 1-2 pitch. 2-2.
Gordon Beckham shortened up a little bit at second base as the pitch is about to be delivered. He's creeping in. The ball's hit to him sharply. He may come home.
Strike 3 called. Drew frozen for the first big out.
What a great breaking ball. Boy, was that huge. Bases loaded, nobody out. You get a strikeout. Gives you a little bit of hope. A backdoor breaking ball. Jerry Meals rings him up. Beauty.
Now it's Taylor who checked in for Ben Revere, who left after the 3rd inning. No word on why Revere was taken down. Again, Taylor, a lot of strikeouts, including 1 in 2 trips today. Bases loaded, 1 out now. A little pop, shallow center. Inciarte's there. Worth's tagging. He's coming home. Throw to the plate. AJ's got it, but can't hang on. And Worth scores the tying run, and the runners move up. A shallow sac fly by Taylor brings home Jason Worth, and we're all square at 3 apiece.
It was a good throw. It was a good setup by Inciarte, but the second hop was a little bit of an in-betweener, and AJ was trying to catch it and hang on to it as the tag was being applied. Great footwork. Right there, a little in-between hop that hit on the dirt, and AJ never really had it clean. Hard slide and clean one by Worth. He's the one that came up limping on that. What a shame. That would have ended the ball game.
So the Nats cash in a walk themselves here in the 9th inning and have tied it. Now you've got to get Rendon with 2 in scoring position. Three in the 9th. And a fly ball headed for the gap in left center. Inciarte on the run is gonna get there just shy of the track. And that retires the side. Braves are coming up in the bottom of the 9th inning. Game tied 3 apiece. After the game Sunday against the Cardinals, Mac Honey and the gang will get us up to Washington, D.C. to start a 4-game set with the Washington Nationals. Speaking of 4-game sets, the Kroger 4-game plan is a great way to see your Braves during this historic final season at Turner Field. Save off the regular game price and custom build your 4-game plan, or select a popular one like the bobblehead, Friday night fireworks, or Sunday Kids Day plans today by visiting Braves.com/4game. This is Blake Trinan, and he is a man with a rocket arm. He can throw the ball 100 miles an hour.
Great spring training numbers. Kind of throw out the record because that doesn't mean a whole lot in spring training, but did not give up an earned run. 9 strikeouts. That's not surprising.
And he'll face Kelly Johnson, who bats for Jason Grilli.
96 to 100 with a slider and sometimes a change.
Nationals needed 3 pitchers to get 3 outs last inning. Trying the 4th reliever to follow Max Scherzer, who started and struck out 7 in his first 7 innings of the year.
Well, we saw what a leadoff walk did to the Braves there in the top of the 9th. Leadoff walk here would be mighty nice for the Braves.
3-0. Four straight out of the zone, and the winning runs aboard to start the inning.
I'm going to tell you something, Chip. The last inning and Kelly's at bat there, granted, he wasn't anywhere around the plate, but there was no anxiousness on the part of a veteran pinch hitter. Same thing applied from Francoeur through Inciarte. Freddie Freeman eventually got hit by a pitch, but a great at bat. Garcia with the walk. Very good, solid, patient at bats that led to a run in the 8th, and now leadoff guy in the 9th.
Let's see if AJ can move Kelly Johnson around. Brzezinski's 0 for 3 today. Five straight have missed. And Ramos out to talk it over. Murphy in as well.
Well, Murphy's first year with the team, he probably came in and said, look, I don't know you, but would you please throw it over the plate?
The rules say at some point you have to do that. That heavy sinker, maybe Trinan will leave one into the happy zone for AJ and golf one out of here.
Good low ball hitter.
Right back up the middle, but that's where they had him played. Espinosa steps on the bag and throws to first in time for the double play. Excellent positioning by the Nationals paid off. Otherwise, that's a hit.
I mean, that is solid up the middle single, except for the shift.
So Gordon Beckham gets his second at bat. He struck out against Felipe Rivero. And takes a strike. Nothing in 2. And Trinan takes care of Atlanta in order in the 9th. Works around a leadoff walk. Free baseball in Atlanta on opening day. Can't beat that. 3-3 your score. battle Buster Posey and the Giants on Saturday. It's all on America's home for baseball all season long, FS1, or watch it live on Fox Sports Go. 3-3 as we head to inning number 10. Again, this week only, T-Mobile customers can get a free season-long subscription to MLB.TV Premium. Go to T-Mobile.com/MLB to sign up now and catch every moment on America's fastest-growing LTE network. Welcome back to Atlanta. Eric O'Flaherty. He is on for the Braves, who will face Bryce Harper, who begins the 10th.
You can see those are combined numbers between the Pirates and the Braves in spring training. Eric, near the end of his first tour with the Braves, had to have Tommy John surgery, and he's just now really getting back to strength and back to form.
Well, the strategy that Freddie Gonzalez had in mind was sound. He had Vizcaíno pitch the 8th. A leadoff walk doomed Jason Grilli in the 9th. Now O'Flaherty for Harper, Zimmerman, and Murphy. And a bouncing ball to second. Should be and is easy. Harper's retired. Good start to the 10th. 1 out. Eric O'Flaherty, when he was in Atlanta, had one of the great pitching performances in history. I believe he's the only guy to ever have a sub-1 ERA.
Right.
With
at least 100 innings. Yeah, maybe like 75 innings, I think it was, but what a season.
Yeah, Braves had Johnny Venters, Eric O'Flaherty, Craig Kimbrell in the bullpen. And that trio was terrific. We're all hoping Eric has a good year with the Braves this year. The lone left-hander in the Braves bullpen at this point in the season. Zimmerman takes low. Ryan today 1 for 4.
Count goes to Zimmerman's favor. They shift 3 guys to the left side.
And that's right where he hits it. Beckham, who's played shortstop, made a terrible throw. And Zimmerman's going to take second. And look how spry he looks making his way around the bases. That throw had no chance to get Zimmerman.
It's just a shame because the Braves had just made this defensive move to put Gordon over there, and he's right in the spot where he hit the ball. But when Freddie Freeman can't flag it down, that's a bad one.
So a 2-base error, second of the day for the Braves. And now Murphy hits. Murphy has homered, walked twice, and struck out. AJ framed that. Didn't get the call from Jerry Meals. Apparently high. 2-0 your count.
It's not too often that AJ ever turns around and looks at an umpire. I count on one hand how many times he did it last year, and he's done it twice today.
Ball 3. Murphy, his turn to grumble a bit as he looked back at Jerry Meals. 3 balls and a strike. Opposite field shot by Murphy. That's going to get down and roll into the corner. Zimmerman comes home to score. Daniel Murphy's knocked in 2 runs in his Nationals debut. And the 2-base error is very costly. It puts Washington in front 4-3 in the 10th.
Well, as you said earlier, Chip, he's a tough guy to strike out because even on a 3-1 count against a lefty, he's still trying to just inside out the ball, put it in play, and found some green grass. Tough break for Eric O'Flaherty.
So Jim Johnson will be the next man out of the Braves bullpen. Washington has taken a 10th inning lead on a Daniel Murphy RBI double. ATL 30 games in 30 days between the Braves and Hawks here on Fox Sports South. As mentioned earlier, the need for the Braves this year to make the routine plays. They couldn't here in the 10th inning. That's cost them a run and the lead. And now Jim Johnson's on, Joe, to try to put out a fire.
Yeah, from the normally reliable Gordon Beckham. That error really costly. Jim Johnson last season with the Braves before he was traded to the Dodgers. Good numbers, a 2.25 ERA. A lot of strikeouts in 48 innings. Not so good with the Dodgers. Things didn't work out well for him there. And he's been slow to come around this spring because of a sports hernia surgery. Still trying to get all his velocity back.
And a strike to Jason Worth, who drew the key leadoff walk in the 9th inning against Jason Grilli that scored the Nationals' 3rd run.
Yeah, there was a pitch in that sequence that caused AJ to turn around and look at Jerry Meals. That really affected that walk.
Ground ball to Ibar at short. Long throw gets Worth. There's your second out. Johnson gets his first man. And now he'll face Ramos. I presume Jonathan Papelbon is up and throwing in the Nationals bullpen.
He is.
Braves have had good luck against him historically. Perhaps there's some magic lurking in the 10th today.
Another thing about one lefty in the bullpen, Eric O'Flaherty, and granted Worth was a right-hander, then Ramos right-handed, so it would seem right to go to a right-hander to get out of the inning. But if you've only got one lefty, and in this case the Nationals already had a run, you might need Eric to come back and pitch on Wednesday. I know they got a day off tomorrow, but you don't want to burn him up. You got to be protective of how much you use him over the course of a series.
No swing. 2-0 to Ramos. Strasburg and Norris here Wednesday night. First pitch 7:10. Braves Live will be at 6:30 on Wednesday. Our friends at Xfinity present Braves Live. Sink to that pitch, fills up the count. Big crowd today, over 48,000. Quiet for the moment with Washington in front. Braves in the 10th will have Francoeur, Inciarte, Ibar, and hopefully Freeman coming up against Papelbon. And a swing and a miss. Johnson's season debut effective. Retires the first two hitters he faced, but Washington now has to protect a lead as we head to the home 10th. Franchise back on its feet in 1991. John Schuerholz celebrating 50 seasons in Major League Baseball, 2 world titles, 16 division titles. There's his resume with the Atlanta Braves, just 1 losing season in his tenure as the Braves general manager. And this year, John's year will be capped by being inducted into the Atlanta Braves Hall of Fame.
So richly deserved, and hopefully just a prelude to another Hall of Fame induction.
And a change in title for John now. He's the vice chairman of the ball club. Derek Schiller and Mike Plant were promoted to presidents. They will handle marketing, and they'll handle the ballpark broadcasting and the like. So John steps back just a touch, but he'll still be very much involved in the new ballpark, as well as the Braves search for a new spring training facility. So here we go to the fateful home 10th. Jonathan Papelbon facing Jeff Francoeur, former teammates last year with the Phillies. And as I said, Turner Field and the Braves have not been a very happy thing for Papelbon to see of late.
No, it's been a house of horrors for him at times. Of course, he's the guy that started a big stir at the end of the year with the Nationals, going after Bryce Harper.
Jeff pops it up. That's hit toward left. Jason Worth comes in, and next play for out number 1. Yeah, word is Papelbon and Harper have patched that all up. They're apparently on speaking terms, good terms. So an awful public spat capping a very disappointing Washington year appears to be water under the bridge. And let's not forget, Papelbon had a very good year last year. He saved 24 games between the Phillies and the Nationals. .349 lifetime saves entering today's play. And a strike. Most saves by any big leaguer since 2006. Second in strikeouts. And 8th in ERA. Ball 1, strike 1 to Ender Inciarte.
Fastball slider split. That split finger pitch has become a very useful tool for him over the last 2 or 3 years.
At the knees. 1-2. Inciarte didn't get it. And there's the second out. It's up to Ibar to keep the game alive for Freddie Freeman. Braves are working overtime today. My son Tristan Carey's approaching bedtime. He hopes to stay up a little later and see the Braves win this thing in the 10th. Ibar 1 for 4 today. And strike after strike from Papelbon.
Need a base runner anyway, anyhow. Good day for Murphy in his debut with the Nats.
Ground ball to first. Zimmerman smothers that, and the Nationals have beaten the Braves in extras. 4-3 is today's final score. Dusty Baker, in his first year as the National skipper, is in the win column with the Washington Ball Club. So Papelbon picks up save number 350 in his big league career, and the Nats strike late and take away a 1-run win.
Nice job. Nice job.